Blizzard Listened. This is massive for the World of Warcraft's health. Okay. Let's check this one out. Here we go.
Welcome back to the Web News, everyone. Honestly, quite a banger for the news today. It's good stuff. Lots of changes. They keep on rolling in, but let's actually just get it started off with a pretty neat story. So this is just Twitter teasing, but it's kind of with notable people, right? Now, I think this is worth mentioning because of the insane recent success of The Last of Us and, of course, Mario. Before that, you had successes like Arcane, Edge Runners.
I have not watched Arcane yet. We actually talked about this last week. And the Mario movie, holy crap. Then that thing's breaking like every record for an animated movie ever. I can't wait to go watch it. I think I'm going to take my kids this weekend.
Those Witcher stuff as well for driving sales. People are just talking about video game adaptations again. Now, someone at Twitter asked Mike Ybarra if we are going to be getting a sequel to the Warcraft movie. And he said, I don't know about a movie, but there are certainly stories we want to tell.
Ooh.
Now, that obviously does seem kind of non-committal, but...
I always said World of Warcraft needs to be a series on TV. There's too much story to be told in a movie setting. Now, you could have movies, go with the Marvel style, where, you got movies that kind of branch out from the series to tell, like, the big events. But, like, in terms of story, I mean, if you just tell the Arthas storyline through a series, a TV series, that would be amazing. It would be Game of Thrones. But hopefully not the same shitty ending. But you literally, the Scourge, it's exactly the same as Game of Thrones. If you told a storyline of Arthas Menethil through a TV series, oh my god, it'd be so good.
The thing, he did tag Chris Metzen
Leroy
in the
Jenkins,
tweet, and Chris responded saying, indeed, movie sounds fun too.
Pun Star, thank you for the sub. Death Knight of our Scourge, 2 months now. Thank you so much.
Now, if you go back and look at what Metzen was rehired for, basically, it all said that his initial focus would be on World of Warcraft.
Right.
And I would presume that would mean setting up elements of the next expansion, given the dragonflight.
Oh shit, what if he was hired to do a TV series adaptation?
But then that he would be expanding to other projects across the, quote, growing Warcraft franchise, which certainly does have people thinking.
That.
I mean, with renewed focus and investment on Warcraft, would it make sense to regain some momentum with something like this? I mean, Dragonflight has been a pretty damn brilliant expansion so far.
Yeah,
perhaps they've got something large in terms of marketability with the next one. And Metzen,
I wonder, what would you guys prefer? If they did a series, would you prefer a live-action series or something like the cinematics? Like an animated series? I actually don't know what I'd want. I feel like an Arthas Menethil, I mean, there's always the Henry Cavill as Arthas Menethil, fan base going nuts over that. I mean, yeah, if they got Henry Cavill, I'd want a live action. That would be amazing. Exactly. Depends on the cast. That's exactly where I'm going with it. If they got the right cast together, a live action would be amazing. But if not, I think I'd take an animated series. I'd be fine with that.
Is going to be advising on something other than World of Warcraft, right? Now, ages ago,
like Arcane.
I did release a video. It was comparing Blizzard's treatment of Warcraft to how Riot has been treating Runeterra, thinking about like Arcane and a host of smaller in-universe games that they've published under their Riot Forge label. That's basically where they get established indies on board. So if they're taking
also
Warcraft
depends on the
seriously,
budget, 100%.
Like they quite...
If they went a Game of Thrones budget, I mean, yeah, okay, give me a live-action Scourge. Imagine Syndragosa. Live action, oh my god, it'd be unbelievable. But yeah, if they go live action, they need a massive budget. Because it can't look janked. You can't have dwarves and elves looking just like jank 90s adaptation shows. You gotta go full, balls deep on the budget if you're going live action.
Obviously are when you just look at the sheer investment they've thrown into the WoW team right now.
You'd never rely on cast members.
Who knows?
Never risk the
Of course,
problems.
there are loads of settings for a movie like this. I think a lot of people would perhaps think
animation doesn't have to worry about a random tweet and somebody getting canceled.
You could also start something off basically by, like with War 3, starting it off with Thrall, right? Do the origin story of Thrall. It'll have edge to it, right? He's in the internment camp. You've got the drama between him and Taratha Foxton. You've got Blackmore being, pretty awful villain.
I wouldn't mind a live-action Thrall
cameos from Arthur
continuing after the movie. Here's the thing, though. I feel like Blizzard needs to lead World of Warcraft needs to be led by its strongest story first. And then they can do a prequel that includes Thrall or something. You know, kind of like Game of Thrones did. They didn't go the House of Dragons as the first series, right? Or Star Wars. They didn't go, you know, they started with Darth Vader right away. You got to lead with your best foot forward to pull in people into the show, and then you can do prequels of the previous stories. I think the Arthas Menethil story is the best story in all of World of Warcraft. It's the best. People would be so enthralled, I feel like, by it. And then you can go back and tell the story of the orcs and the Burning Legion and all that other shit.
This and Jaina, if you want to sort of set those things up for future seasons, you know, when they're sneaking out at night. You've got Arthas and Taratha meeting for a bit as well, so you could get Arthas in. I mean, it does seem like doing like the initial escape of Thrall, that sort of seems like a season 1 of a thing, if they were to really sort of go there. Yeah, I think that could work, honestly. So I guess my question...
But imagine a season 1. Okay, he's talking about the escape of Thrall, but imagine a season 1 ending with the culling of Stratho as the final episode of season 1. Tell me you wouldn't be going nuts for a season 2 if the culling of Strathome is the final episode to wrap up a season 1, and then season 2 would be him going to Northrend and all that other shit. It'd be the total fallout of Arthas. Oh my god, it'd be so good. It'd be so good. With a caveat, Arthas is the Lich King, not his entire life story. Nobody cares about him and Jaina riding through the woods. We want to see the Lich King. Yeah, that's true. But I think you can get some Arthas and Jaina shit going on. But like I said, it has to be the beginning of the downfall. That's what season 1 would be. With the climactic calling of Strathome at the very end. I mean, you'd have Uther, Jaina, Arthas, season 1. It'd be so good. Oh my god, it'd be so good.
Question to you is, what sort of thing would you like to see?
Had me
would
at
you
WoW
like live action or animated TV or movie, new modern Azeroth stories, or retelling of classic WoW stuff? Let me know below. Okay, next, the big bit of game news. I think this will be super impactful. So, after last week, where affixes were nerfed and then they were moved to way higher key levels, which overall meant that people would just be seeing less affixes unless they were pushing higher keys, Blizzard have actually went one further this time around. They've once again actually listened to feedback and they've scored some pretty damn big wins. So, affixes have just been massively nerfed.
They got to focus on one storyline,
right? Like they really have. First up, Explosive has been yeeted into space and replaced with Volcanic.
That's good.
Now, they did have a planned redesign that seems to basically be shielding, which did appear in the PTR, but it's like not announced, so I'm not exactly sure with that. But anyway, that's been replaced with Volcanic, which obviously is a pretty easy to deal with one, albeit, a little boring. But anyway, with Explosive, it just seems they couldn't get the desired player response, and I think they quite clearly wanted to move that away from being a healer task. Then we've got Incorporeal. So this is one of the new ones that was forcing you to CC invincible ghosts. Well, those ghosts now despawn at the end of combat automatically, which is really nice. Then Entangling. Entangling has got better visuals, it's got better sound.
Basically burn down the ads, don't deal with them.
It only slows you by 30% down from 50. So that's great. Then Afflicted. It stops scaling its health at keys above 20. And for a lot of people, that is absolutely massive.
A lot of people aren't doing over 20, but yeah, it's massive for the people who are.
Sanguine, it now lasts for 12 seconds, down from 20. Yes, I guess hardcasting mobs can still stand in it, so
miserable for tanking too.
But then also, Spiteful is weaker, and it stops scaling at Mythic plus 20. Then, they decided that Raging would grant a CC immunity instead of an extra 50% damage, which is kind of interesting. Obviously, they like forcing you to bring more druids or, hunters for Soothes and Raging Week, but this immediately backfired on them. CC immunity, of course, at the time meant interrupt immunity, which went extremely south during Mythic Plus testing on Thursday evening, and then props to Blizzard, they almost immediately hotfixed the interrupt immunity
They have been fixing
out,
things, so that's
meaning
good.
that you still can't hard CC Raging mobs, but you can interrupt them. So yeah, I guess move fast, break shit, unbreak shit. This is a new pace of fast development that I'm definitely here for. But then, we've got perhaps the best bit of news, which is that bolstering no longer increases enemy health. You can pull as much as you want now, as long as you can survive that bonus damage. So overall,
Deadric,
this is
awesome,
awesome
man.
news.
No problem.
And their reasoning is great here. They've just said, we've reviewed the impacts of our fixes and made tuning adjustments with the goal of lessening their overall impact on dungeon gameplay. Yeah, they just want affixes to matter less.
Good morning, Farfel.
This is kind of what we've been hoping for. At least it's one of the things that we thought would be a viable option, so that's really good. And yeah, they're, I guess, agreeing with most of the community, at least for right now. And just the idea that people
Mythic
should be
Plus
playing
has
the
been getting
dungeon,
worked and
not
tweaked
the
every
affix.
week, so
That's definitely prevailing. I think a
hopefully
big
next
hell
season's
yes
gonna
to
be
that.
better.
Yeah, look, I'm pretty damn confident that more players will be happy and more people will be playing M Plus with this. Now, you might think that Mythic Plus player counts always veered towards high keys, but you see, if you look at Raider IO's numbers, you actually can notice that the vast majority of key runs, at least recently, have been below 10, which now won't even see the second affix because that kicks in at a level of 14.
Good.
So I think at this rate, a lot of the negative experiences are maybe being taken away. Who knows?
Gotta learn the rogues freehold skill.
Mythic Plus will be in a pretty incredible position. Next, a mystery that initially was pointed out by Portergage over on Twitter, where we've got a new Druid PvP talent in the works. Now, that doesn't matter to most of us who are not doing PvP, but it's the specifics that matter here because Cosmic Elevation has been spotted, right? And it looks like a ground-targeted route, but it's cosmic-y. It uses a new icon from an Aberrus mechanic as well. Now, you think of a druid, right? You think of the stars and stuff like that. So that bit does make sense. They deal astral damage. Half their spells almost sound like sci-fi concepts already, except one thing that's getting more and more suspicious. These icons are specifically tagged Cosmic Void, and all of them are in relation to the Void stuff that the new raid bosses use. Things like Neltharion's Corruption and Sarkareth's, like, I guess, space magic looking stuff. They're all spells related to corruption and shadow damage, and that they use this stuff in a room that is full of literal void elementals and like homages to Deathwing's future at the Hour of Twilight. I think it's kind of notable. Now, obviously, I don't know about you, but I've never really thought of Druids and Void together, that they would be connected.
Druids and
but
Void
this is an example of that.
combo.
And it could really be one of two things, either a PvP designer just doing what looks cool and working with some freedom based on the new raid, or it could be a little bit of a hint as to what Blizzard as a whole are thinking about for like future story direction. I mean, you've got the Night Warrior stuff with like the darker moon.
I wonder what they're going to do with that. They haven't.
Closer to
I feel
the
like the
light,
Night Warrior shit has just been left
darker
to
side.
do nothing
Now
with it right now.
Druids, who already did stuff like drop moons and people, are playing with forces that share icons and visual effects of literal void magic from space. So that's quite something.
Are they going to make? They're going to make a loon part of the void? Is that what they're going to? That would be. I don't know. The whole storyline is just kind of on pause right now.
The Blizzard are setting up something with the idea that, we have a cosmos, like the moon, the sun, the stars, and then bringing the idea of the void into that. I mean, what is space but the void between stars? Who knows?
Yeah.
Could be cool. I think this could be another hint, I suppose, at some future lore. I can't wait to dig into the new patch to actually just see how Aberrus feels, considering there is, just so much, dark, Neltharion turned bad, evil, tortured dungeon, void, forbidden power
Aberrus
stuff.
is going to be the transition from dragons to void. I feel like that's going to be the entrance of void shit into the expansion. Give me Night Elf Paladins, please. Good morning. What's up, War Bandit? Night Elf Paladins? How would that work? It'd have to be like some kind of a Loon Paladins or something. Like the Blood Paladins of the Blood Elves? The Blood Knights or whatever? They'd have to be Moon Knights or something? Be interesting. But then you need an equivalent on the Horde. That's how Blizzard works now. So who would get it on the Horde? I don't know. Who the hell would be able to get this? I have to think. You're scrambling my brain right now.
That at some point we'll see some full
Nightborn?
void glory.
Maybe.
I doubt it's going to be pure evil. I think there'll be plenty to it. Maybe there'll be some ties to a loon, maybe to Anshe. And then Anshul, whatever this Anshul thing is, if you remember from the Sarkareth
Nightborn
trinket,
Paladins.
it references Anshul, which is something we'd never heard before. And now we're seeing druids also have a few of these tricks. I don't know, it's bizarre. We'll have to see. Okay, other game changes then. So Leech has been nerfed. Any Leech rating that you get, so that's from items and such, is 25% less effective, but that actually does not include percentages like from talents. Basically, they said that Leech is a bit too strong in the expansion,
so it won't affect
can even reduce the importance of healers when self-sustain just gets too out of hand. So I'd say this probably won't have a massive impact on you, but I guess it shows they're aware of encroaching issues. It could have been the thing where, like, as this scaled up towards the end of the expansion, it would have got silly, so maybe they're just trying to handle this.
Probably because the upgrades that are happening to crafted items was going to make leeching just unbelievable. You can make you immortal.
Or the numbers get
if you keep
dumb.
cranking that up.
As for other news, there's not much else on balance except for another just wave of minor changes for a few specs ahead of 10.1. I'll cover the biggest ones, though. So Feral, having Convoke powered up to be a little bit better again, is nice. It kind of reverts a change from when Convoke was too dominant. Then Mistweaver has had the Phaline Stomp CD reduced by 10 seconds because they basically felt that relying on resets for core parts of the build to work was a pretty bad player experience. There's also a few tier set updates. Nothing super massive.
I'm actually pretty sure that if they add paladins to more races, it would be in some kind of light void expansion, right? That makes sense, War Bandit. I didn't actually think about that until you just said it there.
Windwalker losing
that would
a
probably
potentially
be the reason
broken combo. So
their
their 4 set, right? It used to boost their Shadow Flame damage. Now, a bit of a problem there is that there are loads and loads of sources of Shadow Flame damage from the new crafted items and then things like the very rare Polearm. So if all of this was combining together, then it would have been, quite frankly, in one way you could say too much fun, but also kind of broken and unfair for people who happen to get particularly lucky. Now, the 4 set only boosts the Shadow Flame damage from the 2 set, which basically adds a Shadow Flame element to Rising Sun Kick. Now, one cool change, and I love this, you know Spirit Walker's Grace, right? You use it in a Shaman, it allows you to cast while moving. Well, they've actually added in a grace period at the end. So if Spirit Walker's Grace actually ends mid-cast and mid-move, it's not going to cancel your cast. It'll actually let it finish.
Whoa.
And I'm sure that some crazy player will be able to like hyper-optimize that, but I think for the most part, that's just a lovely bit of quality of life.
Not the normal people.
Either some hyper-specific feedback or a Shaman player in their team getting very pissed off. Now, the last balance change for PvE is that basically every embellishment and crafted item has got a small buff going into 10.1.
Yeah, good thing I crafted my shit.
For anybody who is waiting to upgrade theirs to bring them along for the ride. Over in PvP then, there's actually been a pretty major
crafting has never been so relevant in the game.
From, it's basically a balance to crit damage. So
really good.
It used to be that PvP crits were 175% of normal damage instead of the usual, which is double. But now Blizzard are reducing them to be 150%. Their goal overall then is to reduce the spikiness of damage to basically have a more smooth experience. But they have actually buffed a ton of stuff that does rely on crit, so that it's not like specifically
the health
impacted.
is just insane, the way it bounces back and forth.
There you go, basically. Maybe that'll be good. I suppose it depends on what sort of damage profile you like. But I suppose for a lot of people, it's like, you know, when it's purely a lucky crit that maybe makes the difference, how does that make us feel? I suppose that's the question.
Feels good when you're the one on
in
the
a
lucky
big,
crit
crazy,
side.
Random battleground or something. Maybe it's less fine when people are kind of wanting to feel a pure competition. Not that PvP is super pure competition, given that gear is involved, but I think you get my point. Now, still on the topic of PvP, they're actually slightly nerfing Honor and Conquest from Solo Shuffle and increasing it for group content. Yeah, I guess Solo Shuffle was just a bit too attractive. In my opinion, nerfing it's probably not the move. I think it would have been better to just buff the group stuff, right? Maybe try the carrot first to see if it works.
Right.
I mean, if more people are playing Solo Shuffle...
I'm just not a PvPer, really, so I wouldn't even know what the hell this is.
Maybe Blizzard thinks it could be degrading the experience of, like your 2v2s and your 3v3s. Hard to say, but that doesn't feel great. Anyway, last but not least, If you thought you were being very smart by putting Great Vault acquired sockets on your crafted gear so that you could carry them into Season 2, well, congratulations, you've been rumbled. Because
What?
if you upgrade an item to a Season 2 item level, the game will warn you that you'll have to prune your socket. Now, this may seem like a bit of a fun
shit.
please situation, but I think there is a sane reason why. I think Blizzard don't want people to have a significant power level advantage going into the next season
Yeah, because-
just because they spotted a tiny loophole.
Right.
Instead
if
of
someone didn't play the previous season, they'd be at a disadvantage, I guess.
socket hoarding, then just, I guess, yeah, get gear from the vault then. Okay. What now then?
What
as
about
the
settings?
News
What do you
draws to
mean?
an end. Well, it's Noble Garden until Monday, so you can go. You can pick up some chocolate, hunt for eggs with your friends, get a basket full of eggs that you can carry around on your
Yeah,
dragon
we talked
ray,
about this last
Raven
week.
Drake,
Get your basket.
and get all the usual rewards, which does include, by the way, 450 of your monthly tendies for completing
Yeah, get the
activities
trading
during the
post
event,
tender,
which is a pretty
trader's
damn
tender,
good
yeah.
tendy source. It's also Warlords of Draenor time locking week right now, so
Oh, the sparks?
you can
No, the
go
3 sockets
level up
should be
some
fine.
else,
The
like-
lariats, those should be fine. They didn't say they're going to get rid of those. It's just the socket, the extra one that you could add through the, by using your, what's it called? Your vault currency. That's what they're talking about.
crazy, or go pick up a piece of heroic gear for running 5 dungeons on any of the alts that you may want to play in 10.1, which, by the way, this is mad. It's just over 2 weeks away.
I can't
That's
wait, man.
mad.
We need
Yeah,
10.1.
man, this-
I'm about done with
This
this
patch
patch.
cycle, yeah, and that's why after this video I'm going on to 10.07, because, oh, shit, man, I've got stuff to do.
Use
Now, in the run-up to the patch, we're going to be dropping a whole ton of
Alex,
content on...
6 months. Thank you so much for using your Prime sub again here, man. 6 months of being a Death Knight of our Scourge.
what to do,
Jesus.
what not to do,
Thank
just
you,
stuff
sir.
like that. So I guess keep an eye on the
Thank you
channel
so much,
for more
Alex. I
there.
appreciate that.
With that said, thanks for watching, and there'll be plenty more here over the next few days.
There we go. Nice video. I think the best part about that video was the Warcraft series, man. We need that. We need a good TV series. World of Warcraft. Put it on Netflix. I don't care. Put it on Disney Plus. I don't give a shit. Just get it somewhere. Link the vid. Just woke up. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. You can link it here, and the recap, my version of it, will go up on my YouTube channel as well. So you can always check it out there if you ever miss anything. Really nice. Honestly, really nice video. Like I said, the World of Warcraft animated series, holy shit. Gotta happen. By the way, how do you guys feel about full screen, Sam? You guys remember how I used to put the videos in the top corner? Now I just said, man, it looks so much better full screen. Let's just go full screen.